Part 139. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1381. First Oath. After entering Hungmen, your parents are my parents, your brothers and sisters are my brothers and sisters, your wife is my sister-in-law, and your nephews are my nephews. If you do not respect this example and do not think about this, it is a violation of the oath and will be destroyed by the five thunders. Second Oath. If a brother's parents die after 100 years and have no money to bury them, and if Lin Fei comes to ask for help from his brothers, it is necessary to inform all brothers that as many help as possible and as little money as possible will contribute to complete the matter. If anyone pretends to be ignorant, he will be destroyed by the five thunders. 36th Oath. Scholars, farmers, merchants, and businessmen, each has a skill. Since entering Hungmen, loyalty and righteousness must be the first priority. The leader Yin Xiaoming looked at what was written on the aforementioned paper in his hand, and his expression was not very good. This was the first time he had seen this text. The words in it seemed to be all good words, but when he tasted it, he always felt a little weird. In fact, Xiaoming was not very comfortable when he first came into this reincarnation world. Because this world does not have supernatural energy. Xiaoming's performance was limited. The physical fitness of Xiaoming is still at the peak level of special forces. However, there seems to be a possibility of improvement, because Xiaoming feels that he can practice some internal skills here. Don't even think about such a high-end internal skill as Chang Shengju. If you want, you can probably practice the Dragon Elephant Prajna Gong to the second or third level. It's better than nothing. In addition, many shallow sword techniques, knife techniques, staff techniques, boxing techniques, and even palm techniques can still be used. It's just that without the blessing of internal force, the power will be smaller. The young leader Xiao Xiao is now an adult. He lives with Xiaoming, and his identity is a younger brother who is 3 years younger. He is studying in the police school. The other Xiaomings, as well as the members and followers of the Mingjing team, are all in Hong Kong. They seem to be the younger brothers of some underworld organizations. Looking at this posture, this world is another fight between gangs. There is almost no good person in this kind of thing, and Xiaoming really doesn't want to get involved. But unfortunately, the other team members are not good at dealing with this kind of world, and they always drag him into the mission. Yin Xiaoming and Xiao Xiao live in a very shabby house with cracked walls. There is nothing valuable in the house. It seems that their living conditions are not very good. Background setting: their family only has a few acres of thin land, and farming is just barely enough to make a living. It is rare that a senior official from the police department came today. The shed and walls of the house are not giving face at all, and they are always falling dust. The idiom Penbai Shengui has a different meaning in his family. Clearly shed walls are covered with dust. Fortunately, the senior official who came didn't mind. He had a righteous face, a square head and big ears, and called himself Captain Shi. After coming in, he didn't say much nonsense, and directly took out 2 of 4 papers and handed them to the leader and the young leader. Seeing that the leader looked unhappy after reading the words on the paper, Captain Shi explained. This is the 36 Oaths of Hungmen. You brothers will rely on it to infiltrate the underworld in Hong Kong. You must memorize it for me. Xiaoming's face became even worse. Captain Shi, it's just the underworld. Just shoot them all. Why do you want to infiltrate? It's not worth it. Captain Shi shook his head and thought to himself, this guy is really a soldier. He is straightforward and advocates violence. He has no idea how complicated it is. I don't know why, it was like he was possessed by a demon, and he had to arrange these 2 brothers to be undercover. But I had to continue with the people I chose. So, Captain Shi spent 2 hours explaining the trouble to the 2 brothers. The social and humanistic knowledge involved is enough to study for an undergraduate degree in college. Considering the knowledge level of the two, Captain Shi tried to explain to them in a relatively straightforward language. The social environment in Hong Kong is very special, and it is definitely not possible to rely solely on force. It is still necessary to guide them, blah blah. In the end, he almost ran out of words before he finally convinced the two to accept the undercover arrangement. What he didn't know was that it was not him who really convinced the leader, but the leader's sister, the Fat Protector, who was in Hong Kong. The leader's sister Lu Xiaojing and the leader's left guard Lu Xiaoming are now following a big brother named Airplane. They live in a gangster society called Helian Sheng. This big brother is also in a miserable situation. He has very few younger brothers. He is not famous in the society and almost no one knows him. It seems that he is responsible for doing dirty work for the top leaders of the society. Anyway, Airplane gets injured every few days and rarely goes out on weekdays. His family seems to be quite poor. However, he is very good to the few subordinates he has. Especially taking care of Xiao Jing'er. These days, if a girl is involved in the underworld, she will be very miserable if she is not careful. Xiao Jing'er has been able to avoid being bullied all the time, all thanks to Airplane's care. This is the identity background setting of the reincarnation. Recently, it is time for the election of the leader every 2 years with Lian Sheng. There are undercurrents inside and outside the club. Xiao Jing'er didn't expect that even Fiji, who does dirty work, would be interested in running for election. He really doesn't know how much he weighs. However, my sister thinks that she has been taken care of by Fiji anyway, and she should be grateful and repay his kindness. Although the care he received is a background setting, Fiji's character is indeed good and it is worth helping him. Although it is impossible to let Fiji take the position of the leader, he can at least make his life less miserable. If it is the real world, with Xiao Jing'er's talent and ability, she can make money by changing her career with Fiji. However, this is the reincarnation world, let alone Fiji, even Xiao Jing'er cannot leave the club. This world is a cooperative competition task within the team. Except for Xiaoming, who did not accept the task. Everyone's task is different. But without exception, everyone's task is to help their current boss. Xiao Jing'er's task is to help Fiji get the upper hand. It is not necessary to become the boss. As long as he shows his value in this election and can move up a level in the winning streak, it will be fine. Feeling the difficulty of this task, Xiao Jing'er of course asked her brother for help. She could not figure it out herself. The same is true for the Fat Protector Zhang Wen. He and the leader's right guard Huang Xiaoming are now following a boss called Datu. This buddy is even funnier. He often recites the Hungmen 36 oaths, and seems to really act according to the oath. It is really comfortable to be his younger brother. Brother Wen couldn't help but sigh that there are still such naive people in the underworld. So he decided to be naive himself and try to push Data to the top. Naturally, Huang Xiaoming was also dragged into the water. Xiaoming was very suspicious that Zhang Wen decided to help him because he felt close to the man's big belly. All other reasons were just excuses. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1382. Kraken and the leader's defender Hong Xiaoming are currently following a big brother named Master Su. This person doesn't look like a gangster at all, but rather like a civilian worker such as a lawyer. Such a person can actually become a big brother. It's true that you can't judge a person by his appearance. On the contrary, the big brother of Yujian Guangan Zhao Zhuzhu and the leader's forward Cheng Xiaoming has the most gangster boss temperament. This man named Dongwenzi is intimidating without anger, and his eyes reveal a fierceness. It seems that he should be good at fighting, and he will never be soft-hearted when killing. Unfortunately, Zhao Zhuzhu and Xiaoming don't like this guy's temperament. Help him? No way. Although the task given by the space requires Zhao Zhuzhu to help Dongwenzi. But as the Dragon King, Zhao who also has many privileges in the reincarnation space. If he doesn't like it, he will give up a task just by saying so. This is the real wealth and power. In addition to these regular team members, there are 6 followers of Xiaoming in Mingjing's team. Probably because this task is a competition and cooperation within the team. The space prohibits the appearance of followers. This world is suppressed in force, and with 6 fewer people, it is a great weakening for the Mingjing team. The most hateful thing is that without the IQ of Zhangma, Xiaoming always feels a little uncertain. Now he can only do his best. The name of this reincarnation world is Underworld 2, Harmony is the most valuable, which seems to be another series of worlds. It is not clear whether there will be Underworld 3, 4, and 5 later, but there must be Underworld 1 in the front. Even this world should have started from 1, but at that time other reincarnations were doing tasks. Since Xiaoming didn't know the plot at all, it didn't matter whether the previous reincarnations caused changes in the plot or how much the changes were. In fact, the previous batch of reincarnations did have a significant impact on the plot. The process of Ale becoming the boss was a little more difficult. But the final result did not change. After another 2 years, all the influences were slowly eliminated by time. When the Mingjing team entered the world, they still faced the original plot. From the distribution of the team members, it can be seen that the space is also quite mean. The 2 hot candidates for this election, Ale and Jimmy, the reincarnations did not contact them at the beginning. They only contacted the minions of both sides. Ale's side has Fiji, Dongguanzi, and Datu. Jimmy's side has Master Su. 3:1 seems to be a huge difference in strength. In fact, it is not. You have to know that Jimmy has more money and more people. In terms of financial resources and manpower, he is better than the sum of Ale and his minions. More importantly, Captain Shi also hopes that Jimmy will be elected in a sense. It's just that he is not Jimmy's minion, but a big boss behind the scenes. Seeing that the 2 brothers, the leader and the young leader, are willing to take the undercover work, Captain Shi is very happy. He ordered his men to take out a lot of fine wine and food, and the few people ate and drank while chatting. If Xiaoming had been unwilling to agree just now, he probably wouldn't have this oral. Of course, Captain Shi is very capable. No matter what, Xiaoming will be taken down by him in the end. During the chat, he began to introduce the undercover mission in detail. The Hong Kong gang He Liansheng was born out of the Hungmen organization in the late Qing dynasty, so the Hungmen 36 oaths were highly worshipped. The Hungmen emphasizes not fighting internally and being united against the outside world. Peace is the most precious thing among each other. Therefore, there must be a He character in the name of each gang. Its sphere of influence almost covers the entire Hong Kong and Kowloon area, especially in Tsuen-Wan, North Point, and other places. In the past 2 years, under the leadership of Ale, it has also entered Tsim Sha Tsui. The gang includes 9 large halls and dozens of small halls, with a total of more than 50,000 members. However, the gang is not a formal company or formal organization. In addition to the core members, the others basically come and go, not fixed, and cannot be fixed. The boss of He Liansheng is also called the boss, and the election system is implemented, and it is elected every 2 years. The person in charge will inherit a dragon head stick, which symbolizes his authority. This election system has lasted for nearly 100 years. The dragon head stick has also been passed down for nearly 100 years, which is rare. Those who voted for the person in charge are all uncles of He Liansheng. Now there are Dengbo, Xuanbao, Longan, Huoniu, Leng Lao, Shuang Fandong, Shuego, Fiwa, Logui, and others. Among them, Dengbo has the oldest qualifications. He has been the person in charge 40 years ago and is quite authoritative. He Liansheng seems to have a fair election, but in fact it depends on the influence of the leaders among these uncles. Basically, whoever Dengbo favors will become the person in charge. The election 2 years ago was a contest between Didi and the current person in charge, Ale. Didi is the boss of Tsuanwan, and his strength is far greater than Ale at that time. He is rich and powerful, arrogant, and domineering. He doesn't respect his uncles very much. That is, when facing Dengbo, he can still be a little honest. But that's all. In his mind, strength is everything, and elders without strength are not worthy of respect. So, he spent money to bribe several uncles such as Chuanbao and Longan, thinking that he had a sure win. As a result, Dengbo didn't like him, and he reversed the situation with a few words at the election meeting. Ale won. After that, Didi refused to admit defeat and refused to obey the decision of his uncles. He made a lot of trouble and sent people to snatch the dragon head stick. In the end, Ali's means were more clever. He got the dragon head stick, and subdued Didi. Of course, Didi was killed by Ale not long after. That is, during the dragon head stick incident, several young talents in the gang stood out and showed their outstanding strength. They were all adopted by Allah as godsons and became big brothers. They are Jimmy, Dongwenzi, Master Su, Airplane, and Big Head. In the past 2 years, Jimmy and Dongwenzi have developed the best among the 5. Master Su followed Jimmy to do legitimate business and is undergoing transformation. Big Head followed Dongwenzi and still did the illegal business that the gang had originally done. Only Airplane was the most useless and became the secret thug of Godfather Alok, and he did the worst. Now, it is time for the election every 2 years. Captain Shi intends to intervene in this matter. It is difficult to eliminate the underworld by crackdown alone, so Captain Shi intends to control the major underworld organizations from the inside and restrain their behavior to ensure the prosperity and stability of Hong Kong society. If these guys always make trouble every now and then, what prosperity and stability can we talk about, and whether we can live a normal life is a problem. Besides, Captain Shi was not optimistic about Big D and Alok at that time. So he didn't intervene actively. Now, he finally has time to deal with He Liansheng. In fact, he has been planning for He Liansheng's interference in this election for some time. Now he is preparing to close the net. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1383. A few days ago, several Xiaomings took turns to contact Chang Mao with disposable mobile phones. They proposed to help him get rid of Le. At first, Chang Mao certainly didn't believe it and hung up the phone directly. Anyone who encountered such a thing would think it was a scam. In the past 2 years, he has also encountered several scammers. Later, with Xiaoming's persistent harassment and various text messages, Chang Mao gradually believed it. Because Xiaoming was indeed not a scammer, and he really helped him deal with Le. It is true that sincerity can move mountains and open stones. And for Chang Mao, even if this is a trap, it doesn't matter. Because he didn't have any chance of winning. With a try-it mentality, he began to accept Xiaoming's help. Whether to take action at the critical moment is still up to him. Chang Mao didn't want to take revenge personally, but he knew that he didn't have the strength. He now put life and death aside. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been committed to ruining Ali's reputation. Didn't Chang Mao know that if he continued to annoy Ali, he would be dead? Of course he knew. But there was no other way. If he died, Ali's reputation would be even worse. Since Ali couldn't be killed, he would disgust him as much as possible. It would be a relief. Captain Shi had introduced Didi to Xiaoming. From all angles, he was not a good person. He was the same as Ali. I didn't expect Didi to have such a loyal subordinate like Chang Mao, who was willing to fight for him even after he died. This situation is actually very common in the underworld. Most big brothers, no matter how fierce, vicious, and cruel they are to outsiders, need a few confidants. Otherwise, they don't know when they will be killed by their subordinates, which would be miserable. Therefore, they treat their confidants very well. Sometimes even better than their own wives and children. Not only do they have enough gold, silver and beautiful women, but they also take care of their subordinates' families and eliminate their worries. Even if they die, they don't have to worry about the livelihood of their families. As the saying goes, most of the loyal ones are butchers, and most of the unfaithful ones are scholars. There are many such righteous people in the gangs. Of course, it is not a commendable thing for Chang Mao to be righteous for people like De Di. It can even be said that he does not distinguish right from wrong. Now revenge for De Di can barely be considered righteous, but when De Di was alive, Chang Mao helped him kill and set fire, violated the law, oppressed the good, and committed all kinds of evil deeds, which was really helping the tiger and abetting the evil. So Xiao Ming did not have any psychological burden when using him. Ale is insidious and cunning, and it is definitely not easy to attack him. In fact, it is not easy to assassinate any Big Brother level guy. Xiao Ming also waited for a long time before he accidentally got the news from Fiji. Ale will come to Fiji's house to tell him about something in about 10 minutes. Talking about things takes about 10 minutes to an hour. It is probably enough for Chang Mao to rush over from where he is. Xiao Ming quickly called Chang Mao. Xiao Ming was not there at the time and did not know what Ale talked about with Fiji. Later, when Fiji was chatting, he talked about this matter with the leader's left guard and the leader's sister, and revealed the content of the conversation. It's a coincidence that Ale came to Fiji to get rid of his long hair. At the beginning, the two of them naturally boasted about business to each other, saying some nonsense such as the good development of the club and Ali's leadership. Fiji thought of the leader's left guard, who could make a lot of money by making figures. He, the godson of the leader of Helian Sheng, went through life and death, but it seemed that he was not as good as him. Although he was happy for his brother, Fiji still felt a little uncomfortable. Besides, he just drank a little wine. So, he bravely asked Ale what could make him rise to the top, stand out, and get to know other big brothers and uncles. Fiji also has ambitions. The emperor takes turns, and it will be my turn next year. Like Helian Sheng, the leader is elected every 2 years, and it is said that it is not allowed to be the leader for 2 consecutive years. Doesn't it mean that everyone has a chance? He had never thought of taking the gang to fight here and there. Fiji only hoped that he could be powerful for 2 years, and it would be worthwhile to choose the promising career of young and dangerous. This is what he thinks now. If he really becomes the boss, and tastes the taste of being able to command the support of hundreds of people, it is hard to say whether he will change his mind. In this world, there are not many people who can escape the trap of fame and fortune. Fiji thought that he dared to say this because of the alcohol. In fact, even if there was no stimulation from Xiao Ming's matter and no alcohol, he would still bring it up. Ale needed Fiji to work hard for him, and he actually agreed. He said that he would fully support Fiji to take the position of the boss this time. Even Fiji would not believe such words 100%. However, he believed that the boss could not be the boss for a long time, and the Godfather had no choice but to step down. He was the person the Godfather trusted the most. No one could take the position as well as himself, which would be the best for the Godfather. Even if the Godfather wanted to hold the Emperor hostage to control the princes, he would probably really support him. The other people's foundations were deeper than his own, and they were harder to control. Considering this, he still believed Ali's words 60 to 70%. He was very happy. Ale was very happy to see that he had fooled this golden thug. He was still a little afraid of Jimmy and Dongwenzi, but Fiji really did not pose a threat to him. It would be easy to deal with Fiji in the future. In the past 2 years, Fiji had helped him kill many people, and he had enemies everywhere in Hong Kong. There is no need to deliberately harm him. As long as he spreads the word and stops providing protection, the plane will die on the roadside in a few days. It will be a real failure. After leaving the door, two men protected Ali one after another and went downstairs and walked towards the car parked on the roadside. Suddenly, Ali's eyes seemed to sweep across a familiar figure. He looked closely but didn't recognize it. Ali wanted to ignore him, but he always felt something was wrong. The man was walking quickly towards him, and his eyes seemed familiar. That's right. That was hatred deep in the bone. Ali suddenly became alert. Although he didn't see that this man was just a long-haired man with simple makeup. But he had seen this kind of hateful look many times. Anyone who showed this kind of look to him had a deep hatred for him. Now he was in danger. In order to keep it secret, he only brought 3 men out, 2 of whom followed him all the time. There was another one in the car now. He was alone. If one person dares to fight to the death, 10 people may not be able to stop him. Besides, since the other party is ambushing him, it is unlikely that there is only one person. Thinking of the danger at this moment, Ale's hair stood up. At this time, he didn't care about who leaked his whereabouts. Ale whispered to his 2 men, "Danger, run," and ran towards the car first. The 2 men followed closely behind. At this time, the only best strategy is to get in the car and leave here quickly. The surrounding area is unfamiliar, and hiding may not wait for the arrival of reinforcements. 36 strategies are the best strategy. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1384. After all, he was a gangster, and he was a famous tough guy in the series. Fiji felt that he was crying because there was too much dust here. Yes, that's right. It was definitely not because his godfather died and he would never have the chance to be the boss again. Or it could be said that he was sad because his godfather died. This reason seemed better. But it was also a bit low. It was better to say that there was dust in his eyes. Of course, the best situation was that no acquaintances saw him. Unfortunately, his fantasy was shattered the next second. "Brother Fiji, why are you crying? Hey, who is this person? Is he your friend? My condolences, my condolences." The leader's sister Xiao Jing'er had just called the police and hurried down to help. But in the crowd, she saw Fiji crying at the first time. "Go away, little girl, don't talk nonsense, big brother is smoked by smoke. Dust got in, you know." Fiji hurried to cover himself up. If Xiao Jing'er couldn't see the blush on his face, she might believe it. However, given the younger sister's personality, even if she knew that Fiji had dust in his eyes, she would still make it sound like he was crying because he was sad. She is so considerate. Seeing that the leader's sister still had a strange look in her eyes, Fiji quickly changed the subject. "This is my godfather brother Eli, who is now the boss of Liansheng." Godfather? Brother Eli, putting these 2 words together, the sense of disobedience is overwhelming. What generation is it? Although Xiao Jing'er found the slot, she did not catch it to complain. At this moment, she was concerned about more serious things. "Ah! This is the eldest brother's eldest brother, damn, it's bad. Brother Fiji, brother Eli died downstairs from you, will the club." Fiji suddenly realized that this kind of thing is the so-called yellow mud falling in the crotch. It's not a matter, shit, but it's a matter, shit. Whether it can be explained clearly depends on whether the uncles believe it. It has nothing to do with the truth. If he cannot be forgiven, he will probably be hacked to death on the street by Liansheng's brothers within 2 days. Just when Fiji was panicking, the leader's sister suggested that he quickly find a backer. In the entire club, there are only 2 people who are qualified to be Fiji's backer, Dongguanzi and Jimmy. But at Ale's birthday party 2 days ago, Fiji and Dongguanzi had a very unhappy quarrel. Now it is impossible to find him, so Jimmy is the only choice left. Now is not the time to hold on. Under Xiaojing surging, Fiji took the initiative to call Jimmy and began to deal with the situation on the scene according to Jimmy's arrangements. Jimmy will notify the uncles such as Dengbo and Chuanbeo. The person who made the decision with Lian Sheng was killed in the explosion. It is bound to cause a lot of turmoil. Fortunately, Aile's term of office is about to end. It is just the right opportunity to elect the next person in charge. Except for Fiji, no one will be sad for Aile. The next day, Dengbo convened the uncles of Helianchen and the big brothers of various halls to hold a meeting. Discuss the aftermath of Aile's death. Everyone was there, only Dongwenza did not come. Datu also said a few words to smooth things over for Dongwenza. He was popular with people, so no one pursued the matter. Unexpectedly, not long after, the bad news came that Dongwenza died on the way here. What happened? It was all Dongwenza's fault that he didn't like to walk properly. There was a place blocked by a railing, so he could just go around and walk on the crosswalk. But he didn't, and he pushed with one hand and crossed it beautifully. That posture was super handsome. If a young girl saw it, she might have stars in her eyes. As a result, the young and beautiful girl was not around, but was seen by a traffic policeman on the side of the road. The man came over to stop him and seemed to want to issue a ticket. Dongwenza was followed by 3 men at this time. If a traffic policeman issued a ticket, he would not have to mix in the underworld in the future. Ordinary policemen would not easily provoke Dongwenza when they saw his situation. Such a small matter could not really do anything to this gangster boss. He angered someone, so he sent his men to deal with a little policeman. It was too easy. He could easily make the policeman feel miserable and miserable. However, the policeman looked very young. He was a young policeman who had just graduated from the police academy and was still ignorant. A newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. With Dongwenza's temper, he would have to fight hard even if he encountered such a thing. What's more, he and Lian Sheng are going to run for the leader now. If he loses face at this critical moment, how can he be the leader in the future? Who will choose him? You dead policeman, do you know who I am? You. Bang. Before Dongwenza finished his sentence, he was shot in the forehead and fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open. It seemed that at the moment of death, he couldn't believe that a small traffic policeman actually shot him directly. His death was so unjust. Then, there were several more gunshots. 2 of the 3 men following behind him were also shot dead, and another was shot in the leg and limped away. There is no doubt that this policeman was Xiao Ming in disguise. In fact, there were several members of the Mingjing team pretending to be traffic policemen nearby. They were all preparing to assassinate Dongwenza. Wearing the traffic police uniform, it is not easy to attract other people's attention, and it will hardly arouse Dongwenza's vigilance. After all, traffic police have little power, and they are not a serious crime squad. People who work as traffic police generally don't want to cause trouble. Some traffic police have worked for a lifetime and have never fired a shot. However, traffic police are all equipped with guns. Then there is a chance to kill anyone with one shot. That's why Xiao Ming and his team chose this identity. As for those very friendly real traffic police who provided uniforms and guns to the Mingjing team, at this time, they have been stripped of their clothes, gagged, and tied up in a nearby room. Xiao Ming actually only needs to buy half a day. The plan went very smoothly, and the famous Dong Guanboy died in such an unclear way. The 2 followers also died. As for the one who ran away, it was because he did not do a deep evil. Xiao Ming knew from his face that he was not guilty of death, so he deliberately let him go. Otherwise, with Xiao Ming's reaction and shooting skills, how could he let him run away? After completing the task, the members of the Mingjing team quickly took off their clothes, squeezed into the chaotic crowd, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Everyone was wearing makeup, and no one knew what they looked like. It was another unsolved case. When the Mingjing team finished their mission and exited the world of Underworld 2, the Hong Kong police would no longer have the possibility of solving the case. Of course, in this world, the reincarnations were not invulnerable without supernatural energy protection. This matter still had great risks. If Dongwenzhi brought more people, or if there were a certain number of police patrolling nearby, they might not be able to get away safely. This time there was also a little bit of luck. However, it didn't matter if they were caught. The reincarnations were not natives. At most, they would die once in the mission. The Mingjing team was a 3-star team, and each member had 3 free resurrection opportunities in each world. It was a piece of cake. Being able to resurrect was the biggest advantage of the reincarnations. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1385. After killing Ale and Dongwenzhi, Xiaoming didn't have to worry about other things. In fact, he didn't know how to manage it. Xiaoming thought that since the big brothers who had the ability to compete with Jimmy were gone, Jimmy would naturally take over next. The mission was completed. But the actual situation was not that simple. Uncle Deng and other uncles all hoped that Jimmy would come out to take charge of the overall situation. The remaining godsons of Ale, Datu, Fiji, and Shisu also supported Jimmy. But Jimmy was unwilling to do it. If it weren't for Uncle Deng's pressure, maybe he would have chosen someone else at that time. Although the other big brothers are not strong, they are all in the underworld. Who doesn't have some ambition? Speaking of it, Ali's strength was also average 2 years ago, but he has been doing well in the past 2 years. Maybe he has this talent too. Fortunately, things happened too hastily. No one was prepared, and no one knew what the specific situation was. Within a few days, 2 powerful people died in succession with Lian Sheng, and one of them was the boss of the society. It was obvious that someone was secretly targeting Lian Sheng. If he stepped forward to be the leader at this time, he would definitely become a target. So those ambitious big brothers did not dare to step forward for a while, and the matter was temporarily put on hold. On the other hand, Captain Shi was almost confused when he learned about the deaths of Ale and Dongwenzhi. Jimmy had not agreed to run for the election, and all his opponents were dead. His plans were all disrupted. Captain Shi did not dare to neglect it, and met with Jimmy that night under the introduction of Lao Su. Lao Su is the leader of another Hong Kong society, Xinji. This time, Captain Shi could not slowly set a trap for Jimmy like in the original book. Instead, he directly struck hard. Outsiders did not know what the two talked about that night. But the next day, Jimmy found Deng Bo and took over the position of the leader of Lian Sheng. Master Su, Fiji, and Datu all became his capable men. The tasks of most members of the Mingjing team were completed. The only one who didn't complete the mission was the one who followed Dongwenzhi, Yujiangguang Hanzaijiahu. The boss died, and his mission had failed. However, he didn't like Dongwenzhi in the first place, so it didn't matter if he didn't complete the mission. Some people might think that Xiaoming was too impulsive this time. He killed the 2 big guys before Jimmy was sure to take over the position of the boss. What if Jimmy just didn't take it? In fact, that's not a big problem. First, Xiaoming knew that Captain Shi had investigated Lian Sheng very clearly. Almost every big brother is under his control. As long as he wants, Jimmy will definitely become the boss. Second, the task of the Mingjing team members is not to let Jimmy be the boss, but to make their big brothers move to a higher level. Even if Jimmy grits his teeth and refuses to be the boss, there will always be someone to take that position. If it is Datu or Master Su who becomes the boss, then everyone will rise with the tide. If another big brother is elected, that person was not strong enough, and he didn't dare to challenge the godsons left by Ale. So he had to treat them well. The mission of the reincarnationists was still successfully completed. Everyone left the world of Underworld too. Harmony is the most important thing happily. The troublemakers in the society were all shaved off. I believe that even if the reincarnationists are gone, the surviving characters will still be in harmony. If it weren't for the intervention of the reincarnationists, several people would have died. Among them were Dengbo, Wu Ji, the helper Jimmy invited later, Jimmy's subordinate Ali, and many others. They are probably the luckiest. This mission was done easily and without any waves. Thanks to Captain Shi, who gave the leader Yin Xiaoming extremely comprehensive information at the beginning of the mission. It allowed Xiaoming to find the key points and solve all the problems at once. When the mission was completed, the leader and the young leader had not even left their hometown in the countryside. No matter how this world develops in the future, it has nothing to do with the Mingjing team. They set up a barbecue grill again in Huiguo Mountain and started eating. Actually, Xiaoming didn't put away the grill he used last time. However, it had long been taken away by the monkeys in Huiguo Mountain to play. The new barbecue grill was made by Xiaoming using alchemy. This time it was connected to the ground, so the monkeys shouldn't be able to take it away. The team members are very familiar with each other. The identity of the Kyushu Dragon clan and the identity of the Kraken Alien Octopus clan have been made public. Many things can be said freely. Brother Wen complained to everyone for a while about the difficulty of doing business. Things like handmade figures have a limited market. He opened a big factory but didn't make much money. Brother Wen needs to run business frequently. Because those who originally asked Brother Wen to open a factory in Tokyo wanted to get in touch with Zhang Xiaoming through him. In addition, they also plan to hold a hostage in their hands. If the factory loses money, they plan to pay for it themselves. In any case, they have to treat Zhang Wen well. They have to save face. In the eyes of outsiders, Zhang Wen stayed in Tokyo because he made a lot of money by running a factory. He was not held hostage. Even Zhang Wen himself thought so. However, Zhang Xiaoming later became a ghost messenger in the underworld. They were just like Captain Shi, confused. All the original plans were disrupted. At this time, it was nonsense to talk about hostages. Facing the ghost messenger, having hostages in hand was useless. Aren't you afraid of being bullied after death? They even backed off from paying money. If it is a normal person, even if you find out that the other party is from the 12 Kings family, you can still give him money. People will definitely not be angry if they make more money. But everyone has never dealt with the ghost messenger. I don't know what the temperament of the civil servants in the underworld is, and what taboos they have. If giving money violates the taboo, wouldn't it be superfluous? But then again, this Zhang Wen is not the ghost messenger himself, but a friend of the ghost messenger. Giving him money is probably, maybe, 80%, okay, right? But I can't be sure. What if there is still a problem? So these people are worried about gains and losses. Before confirming the situation, they dare not give him money. This time, Brother Wen suffered. This handmade factory has become a chicken rib. To say that it is not profitable, in fact, it can make a little, at least more than he used to make. However, time has become very busy, and he is not as free as before. Xiaoming also advised him to just close the factory, we don't need this little money. But Brother Wen was a little unwilling. Our buddy can be a big shot in the reincarnation space, but a small factory can stump us. We can't afford to lose face. Hearing him say this, Xiaoming finally understood. Most likely, he boasted to a few other otaku friends. It's a bit difficult to back down. If he closed the factory and went home in disgrace, he would definitely be laughed at by Zhang Yuyan, Pang Si, Li Zhenfan, Hebai, and others. Brother Wen couldn't lose face. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1386. To talk about Brother Wen's troubles, it's just a small matter. Kraken was really embarrassed to face Xiaoming. Remember when Huang Xiaoming boarded the Sheneng 2 spacecraft and encountered aliens in the outer circle of the solar system? It was the double-forked scarred lord from the Scarface family of the Mad Dragon Star. This incident happened a few days ago. After being reported layer by layer, it is now on the desk of the Interstellar Embassy. Kraken also got the news. He himself didn't figure out the whole story for a while, but his fellow tribesmen working in the embassy told him. The reason why the lizardmen of the Scarface family came to Pangustar was because Kraken helped Zhang Xiaoming sell some energy blocks in the interstellar field, which triggered this incident. Some people became greedy and mobilized their forces to track down Pangustar. So they pretended to be pirates and came to rob. This certainly can't be said to be Kraken's fault, but he has a certain responsibility. Of course, this responsibility is not big. After all, the embassy and Kraken know more or less the strength of some Pangustar reincarnations. I am very optimistic about the defense of Pangustar. Although Pangustar doesn't have any decent space army, ordinary space civilizations are no match for Pangustar. Otherwise, Kraken wouldn't have made such a big deal. Even the entire Crazy Dragon Star civilization is only comparable to Pangustar. Coming with such a few lizardmen is just a waste. Sure enough, the space pirates led by the double-forked Scarface died before they even entered the inner solar system. Curiosity kills not only the cat, but also the lizard. This small crisis brought by the lizardmen, no, small trouble, is basically resolved. However, Kraken didn't know that it was Xiaoming himself who solved the lizardman, and he felt it necessary to remind the captain. This lizardman is just a small character. If a more powerful guy comes in the future, Xiaoming may suffer if he doesn't take precautions. So, he said the matter directly. He solemnly reminded the captain to be careful. After hearing his words, Xiaolong Zhaozhu and Xiaoxiu laughed first, and then Xiaomei and Wench thought for a few seconds and laughed too. They knew about this matter earlier than Kraken. Xiaolong was more informed, and the other three were told by Xiaoming. Unlike Kraken, the four of them knew how strong Xiaoming was, and Kraken was just worrying too much. In order to dispel Kraken's doubts, in fact, to show off, Xiaoxiu and Xiaoming performed a Dragon Warrior fusion on the spot. Xiaoming has two trump cards, the Hades of the underworld and the Dragon Warrior of the reincarnation space. Things related to the underworld/soul gem cannot be told to Kraken. The Kraken clan has no knowledge of the underworld. It is hard to say what consequences will be caused if they know this kind of thing. It is better to keep it secret. The Dragon Warrior is not a top secret. The legend of the Dragon Warrior has always been circulating in the universe, especially among aquatic races. Because the dragon race has always regarded the aquatic race as its subordinates. Many aquatic species have been influenced by the dragons in the process of entering the universe. When this happens, the dragons themselves often do not show up, and often let the Dragon Warriors take the lead. The Kraken clan had received the favor of the Dragon Warriors during the period of the Kraken clan. They also knew how powerful the Dragon Warriors were. He could never have guessed that Zhang Xiaoming, the Pangustar he had seen since he was a child, had actually become the legendary Dragon Warrior. It really blinded his titanium alloy dog eyes. He was so excited that he opened the hatch of the mecha, and his body jumped out directly from it, stretching out 8 tentacles and entangled Xiaoming's right arm. He actually wanted to hug Xiaoming's whole body and make out. The legendary Dragon Warrior did not dare to blaspheme, but the captain, who was already very familiar, was another matter. Being able to have close contact with the Dragon Warrior is something that can be boasted for a lifetime. Kraken really couldn't control himself. Looking at Kraken's sticky body, Xiao Ming was fine, but the little child who merged with him felt unbearable. Xiao Xiao is not an aquatic dragon. Chen Wei is actually more like a phoenix, with feathers all over his body. He really hates getting wet. He quickly used his mental power to talk to Dada, and Xiao Ming used the force to block it for a while, allowing Kraken to hug only one of his arms. Xiao Xiao barely endured it. Kraken seemed very excited, and his whole body was releasing various smells. This is the real way for the octopus to communicate. Usually, he speaks with the translator in the mecha. His smell is translated into the language of Pangostar. Now that he is out of the mecha and away from the translator, the language is gone, leaving only the smell floating in the air. Sister, brother Wen, and Zhao Zhou can't hear. But Xiao Ming activated telepathy and understood what Kraken meant. It was nothing more than all kinds of excitement, admiration, excitement, envy, and a little jealousy. Before this, the octopus had always thought that the dragon warriors were born. Unexpectedly, they could fight for it themselves. Kraken was looking forward to Xiao Ming sharing the way to become a dragon warrior. Xiao Ming quietly communicated with Zhao Zhou with his mental power and declined Kraken's request. Even though he was declined, Kraken still had many other questions. He was so excited to see the legendary existence. After hugging him to his heart's content, Kraken returned to the mecha and immediately turned into 100,000 Ys, asking a lot of questions that Xiao Ming didn't know the answers to. For example, how many dragon warriors are there in the universe? Is there a staffing system? Can the 5 social insurances and 1 housing fund be paid to the maximum? And so on. Seeing that he had no intention of stopping, Xiao Ming had to interrupt him. Okay, Kraken, don't ask any more questions. I just became a dragon warrior, a novice, and I don't know a lot of things. Then he took the initiative and asked Kraken a question. By the way, if the Scarface family comes to Pangostar to ransom someone, do you think we should agree? And how much should they ask for? Haha, I'm just curious, just asking. The lizardmen of Crazy Dragon Star are a bit troublesome. They worship the dragons just like ours. As he said that, he pointed his mecha arm at Zhao Zhou. But, we worship the slender and handsome dragons like him, while the lizardmen worship a branch of the dragons, the dinosaurs. It is said that the dinosaurs worship personal force and have a violent temperament. The lizardmen are similar, so they can't be offended too much. If they want to ransom someone, it's better not to refuse. But don't worry, the ransom won't be bad for Pangostar. The embassy will strive for a good price. The dinosaurs, after hearing these 4 words, Xiao Ming was distracted. Weren't dinosaurs creatures active in the Mesozoic era on Pangostar? And they are extinct? Did they also step into the universe? Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1387. As if he saw the captain's doubts. Thinking of eating the delicious food made by Zhang Xiaoming again today, Zhao Zhou actually took the initiative to explain. Xiaoming realized that he had completely misunderstood. The dinosaurs that once existed on Pangostar are not the same as the dinosaurs in the real universe. The history of the dinosaurs is much longer than that of Pangostar, and even longer than that of the Milky Way. That is another story. The dragons did not actually interfere with the survival and development of this tribe. The dinosaurs developed on their own. It is quite remarkable. According to Zhao Zhou's revelation, most races have encountered the support of God during their development. Probably civil servants of the Wanbakianzan family. There are really not many races that have developed completely independently and successfully entered the universe. Of course, after the dinosaurs have been in the universe for a long time, they took the initiative to ask the dragons to be their younger brothers. They are willing to hand over a large amount of treasures. For the sake of the treasures, the dragons did not reject the dragons. But they were not particularly close. The dinosaurs didn't care. They joined the Dragon Clan not to get the Dragon Clan's blessing, but because they have enough force to survive in the universe. The real reason is that when they knew about the existence of the powerful Dragon Clan, they were always worried that one day in the future, a powerful Dragon Clan would suddenly say, "You are worthy of being called a dragon," and then exterminate the clan. That would be an unprovoked disaster. Joining the Dragon Clan and paying more protection fees can save your life. It can be seen that they are not blindly reckless. Kraken said that the dinosaur clan advocates force and has a violent temperament, but it depends on who they are. When dealing with the existence of the Dragon Clan, they should pay back. Pangostar does not need to worry about the dinosaur clan at all, because in terms of personal force, Pangostar is still quite powerful. There is no need to worry about safety. What's more, the Dragon Palace of Zhaozhou is at the bottom of the Europa Sea. With a serious Dragon King settled here, how dare the dinosaur clan act rashly? According to the little silver dragon Benlong, he is actually a little interested in the dinosaur clan. Before he joined the Secret Realm team, he had encountered a reincarnation world with dinosaurs. It felt quite interesting. On a whim, he thought about getting a few and raising them in his own dragon palace. Although the Europa Tea restaurant is on the bottom of the sea, there is actually no water, which is equivalent to a small piece of land. There is room for a few dinosaurs. Unfortunately, this kind of interest came and went quickly. Not long after, Zhaozhou forgot about raising dinosaurs. Today, when Kraken reminded him, he thought about it again. "Captain, I have an invitation to the corresponding world. Do you want to go with me and catch 2 dinosaurs to raise?" Xiaoming couldn't help but slap his forehead and said, "Wait a minute, I'm off topic. Aren't we talking about lizardmen and dinosaurs? Why did we suddenly turn to raising dinosaurs as pets?" "Hey master, this is your fault. Didn't Lord Dragon King say that dinosaurs are very strong? Don't worry." "That's enough." Zhang Wen suddenly took over the conversation, refuted Xiaoming, rubbed his hands, and said to Zhou in a very servile way, "Lord Dragon King, is there any empty seat on the bus? If he doesn't go, I will go. I need to find some inspiration from dinosaurs. Then I want to go too." Kraken was not only lonely, but also wanted to join in the fun. In the end, Zhou took Wen Ji and Kraken to a certain world together. The invitation letter had a limit on the number of people, so Xiaoming's brother and sister, and Xiao Xiao didn't go with them. Their results didn't seem to be very good. They didn't show off their dinosaurs. Of course, it could also be that they deliberately hid the dinosaurs. But that possibility is not great. As for Xiaoming, he had already left the reincarnation space before the others entered the reincarnation world. He planned to find an opportunity to contact the real dinosaurs. And this opportunity is the lizardman Double Fork Scarface Sir, who is currently imprisoned in Shannon number 2. Xiaoming knew that his family must redeem him. After redeeming him, he probably won't have a good time. So let's make use of the waste. After exiting the space, Huang Xiaoming immediately went invisible to the cell of Shannon number 2. Double Fork Scarface is the only individual among the group of lizardmen who will be redeemed. He is also the only one imprisoned now. The other lizardmen have been planted with life and death talismans by the Shen family and are working as coolies for the Shen family. They are happy with it. After all, the Shen family needs to learn from them. Learn how to drive spacecraft, operate mechas, and repair and maintain tools. Besides, the Shen family is currently particularly short of manpower. Because of participating in the Shannon plan and immigrating to the universe. Currently, there are only about 10 people in the Shen family who can move in reality. This batch of laborers came just in time. So the whole Xian family was very friendly to them. They were well fed, and they were not exploited or abused. The captured lizardmen were not stupid. They were not in a high position in the Scarface family, and now they were the remnants of the defeated army, destined to be abandoned by the family. The Xin family was willing to accept them, which was a pleasant surprise. The lizardmen cherished this opportunity very much. They obeyed the requirements of the Xin family. Of course, there were a few guys who had been pirates for a long time before, and their hearts had become bad. It was hard to change their bad habits. They secretly planned to do something. However, they were completely unable to resist the power of the life and death talisman. They could not deceive the S-level Captain Xianku. Now the grass on his grave is very tall. As for the double-forked Scarface himself, he is too involved and must be released in the future. Xianku dared not interrogate him, nor let him move freely. He simply put him in a dormant state. It is safe and convenient. Unfortunately, there is no game cabin for the lizard man on Sheneng 2. Otherwise, he could play games. In view of the fact that this person is under all-round surveillance, Xiaoming must complete his plan as quickly as possible. He used every second counts to speed up, using 1 second as 1 minute. Instantly sent the body of the double-forked Scarface into the bright top. He used the power of Hades to check it out. It was confirmed that this was a guy who deserved to die. Judging from the things he did, it would not be wrong to sentence him to death several times. So, Hong Xiaoming absorbed this guy. Then he used the copycat ability to replace the identity of the double-forked Scarface, pretending to fall into dormancy. In fact, he was silently digesting the memory of the lizard man. Xiaoming's purpose in doing this is obvious, that is, to borrow a corpse to revive. Let Red Xiaoming join his family as a double-forked Scar. With his own abilities, he will definitely be able to make a name for himself on the Crazy Dragon Star. The Dinosaur Clan and the Crazy Dragon Star have some overt and covert relationships. Sooner or later, we will have a chance to meet. Even if he doesn't meet the Dinosaur Clan, Xiaoming has the identity of a Crazy Dragon Star person, which will make it much easier for him to do some small business in the universe. It's a good opportunity to see the world and see what level the aliens who have entered the universe are. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1388. Hong Xiaoming replaced the lizardman double-fork Scarface, and was looking forward to the double-fork family redeeming him as soon as possible. When he arrived at the Crazy Dragon Galaxy, he would be able to show his strength. Since he was testing Pangu Star, he had to take this mouthpiece back quickly, right? Unexpectedly, he was wrong. People didn't seem to be so anxious, and he would be detained for a while before he could get the news. Fortunately, Xiaoming was not really double-fork Scarface. Even if his body was lying in the prison room of Sheneng 2 spacecraft, his soul was still quite free. If he wanted, he could log into the game at any time, whether it was a magic planet, a martial arts planet, or even a worm game, he could easily go online. However, Hong Xiaoming still chose to let his soul enter the Quafu underworld. He could earn merits by doing his job as the king of hell well. Of course, even if Xiaoming's soul did not enter the underworld, it would be no different. The civil servants responsible for work in the Quafu underworld were also Xiaoming's clones and mind beasts. They were doing the same to earn merits for Xiaoming. Red Xiaoming's soul enters the underworld in person, firstly to ensure safety, secondly, he can read the memories of some creatures on Quafu Star and gain some insights. You should know that there are almost no highly intelligent creatures on Quafu Star, and their memories are nothing more than eating, drinking, defecating, urinating and sleeping. Can such things be useful? In the past, Xiaoming must have thought that such low-level memories and insights were useless. But since using the reincarnation disc, Orange Xiaoming has never been reincarnated as a human. The perspective of looking at things has changed. At first, he was an animal and was still able to move. Last time, it was better, and he was directly reincarnated as a tree. This time, After leaving the reincarnation space, it was not much better. Orange Xiaoming was still in that strange world and reincarnated as a flower. Without eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and without color, sound, smell, taste, touch, and law, he relied entirely on his own strong mental power to barely see everything within a few meters around him. Things farther away can't be seen. It feels like I grew up in a flower garden, but I can't be sure. Orange Xiaoming is now used to this cheating reincarnation disc. After accepting his fate calmly, he felt that being a flower or a tree had a different charm. It was worth feeling. It was too slow for him to feel it by himself, so Hong Xiaoming used the power of Pluto to feel it together. Xiaoming was originally a human, and he unconsciously had a tendency of human chauvinism in his heart. He did not think that there was anything wrong with humans hurting other races. And other races that hurt humans should be strictly restricted. In fact, Xiaoming's three views are already relatively normal. He thinks that although humans can kill animals for food, they should not be cruelly killed. In addition, waste should be avoided and nature should be well protected. If other animals hurt humans, Xiaoming thinks that they are also acting on instinct. There is nothing wrong. But since he is a human, it is also right to kill or imprison those animals and try to eliminate this danger. You can't let those animals hurt people, right? Later, Xiaoming became a Zergman, and even a Protoss. His butt is no longer just sitting on the human side, and his mind has become a little more open. Moreover, Xiaoming thinks that the social structure of the Zerg and Protoss is better than that of the humans on Pangu Star. At least relatively speaking, it is much fairer and has fewer ugly phenomena in human society. Compared with others, human civilization is still relatively barbaric. If the humans on Pangu Star start a war with the Protoss or Zerg, Xiaoming is a little unsure who to help. He will probably keep his people neutral. Of course, humans and Zerg have only a little friction at most. Although the collective number and combat effectiveness of the Zerg far exceed that of the humans on Pangu Star, humans also have the reincarnation family such as the 12 Kings as a trump card. It is unlikely that a full-scale war will break out. Xiaoming is not so entangled. From then on, Xiaoming's position was equivalent to switching to the side of higher intelligent life. Not only do he think that humans are the strongest, but he still thinks that higher intelligent races should rule the world. Plundering the natural world is reasonable. But this position is actually not exactly the same as the position of the underworld/soul gem. In the underworld, all living beings are truly absolutely equal. Humans are no more noble than a dogtail grass by the river. Xiaoming guessed that the reason why my Lord Acha gave him this reincarnation disc was probably to correct his position. Since he became a civil servant in the underworld, he should look at the world from the perspective of the underworld. He can't continue to focus on humans, which is too narrow. If Xiaoming's mentality and the soul gem are getting further and further away, he will probably be abandoned by the soul gem in the end. Changing positions is also a hurdle that every civil servant in the underworld will encounter in the early stages. Since Xiaoming got the reincarnation disc and reincarnated as an animal and a plant many times, many of his concepts have been subtly changed. In the past, he would definitely not think that being a tree was good. Now he is happy with it. This is a clear proof that Xiaoming's thinking is changing. Xiaoming thinks that my Lord Acha will definitely not give each of her new subordinates a reincarnation disc. He must have received special care. The reason is probably that my Lord Acha needs to continuously provide multiple sources of energy. If she is expelled from the underworld, then she will lose several sources of energy. But my Lord Acha's behavior seems to be selfish. It may not be in line with the character of the soul gem. Is it really good to do this? When Xiaoming thought of my Lord Acha, the peerless beauty in black leather jacket naturally emerged in his mind. A self-deprecating smile appeared on his face. Her realm is much higher than mine. How can I worry about her? Just take care of myself. However, on the other hand, a wise man will make mistakes even if he thinks a lot. Maybe I can really help her. Should I contact her and see? But with my Lord Ha's high realm, she may have thought of what I can think of. Who do you look down on? If I ask directly like this, will I offend my boss? Not right? Since Ha's realm is very high, she must be able to feel that I am kind-hearted. She should definitely not be angry with me. Maybe. For a while, Xiao Ming's mind began to swing back and forth on whether to be frank with my Lord Ha, and he was so uncomfortable. Hey! Why do you miss me so much? It's impossible between us, so don't waste your time on it. Speak of the devil will appear. Some people can't help but wonder. My Lord Ha suddenly came to the door and connected the soul worlds of the two again. She even made a joke. Although she said the words of rejection, she used a very seductive voice and tone, and it felt like she was flirting with Xiao Ming. Absolutely natural charm, the kind that can fascinate people to death. Xiao Ming suddenly felt that my Lord Ha didn't seem to be so kind. Did he misunderstand? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1389. This time, my Lord Ha's soul world is no longer the hotel suite as before. It is a yoga room. Ha is doing yoga in it, posing a posture that must be very painful. Xiao Ming has no knowledge of this aspect and does not know what it is called. Zhao Li, who used to be seen often, is nowhere to be seen today. Could it be that he has fallen out of favor? But Ha does not have a new lover around him. Xiao Ming did not dare to ask such gossip, so he could only talk about other things. My Lord Ha, do you know that I thought of you? Ha turned his body gracefully, changed to a posture that looked more painful, and replied. If you just thought about it for a few seconds, I would not feel it. But you have been thinking about me just now, and you did not hide it. Of course I know it. Hide it? I just thought about it privately. Do I need to hide it? After hearing Ha's words, Xiao Ming felt his head was a little square. It took a while before he thought of the fairy tale novels he had read before. Those saints and Jinxians seemed to be really not something that could be thought of casually. Once you think of him, he will feel it. My Lord Ha, even if he is not a saint, should have reached the level of Jinxian or above, right? Haha, you think about it. As if sensing Xiao Ming's thoughts, Ha smiled. At least it is true in the underworld. Then he sighed and said, alas, look, I forgot your level. Generally, to sit in the position of the King of Hell, you must be at least a Jinxian, and you are the only one who has just established your foundation. However, don't you have a planet to earn merit? Why haven't you exchanged some advanced Taoist methods to practice? Look at you, you are still such a low-level Qi training method. Don't be too stingy. Xiao Ming was a little confused. Nanny. What is she talking about? There is so much information. In fact, it's not that the amount of information is so large, but the meaning of her words has a great impact on Xiao Ming. From what she said, merit can be exchanged for advanced skills. Why didn't I know about this? Was I discriminated against by the Book of Life and Death/Soul Gem? Xiao Ming was not afraid of being embarrassed, and immediately asked what was in his mind. Cha was also very shocked after hearing it. It turned out that this newly promoted King of Hell not only had the lowest realm, but also did not even have an exchange system. She couldn't help but start to wonder if the soul gem had a bug. Thinking back to when Xiao Ming just became a civil servant in the underworld, he was received by my master Cha. At that time, Cha once said that gaining merits can improve strength. But he didn't say it in detail. Anyway, after Xiaoming took office, the exchange system will be opened, and she doesn't need to say more. Who would have thought that Xiaoming would not have something that everyone has? Later, Xiaoming was also suspicious. Didn't it say that merits can improve the strength of civil servants in the underworld? Why don't I think so? Is his appearance not good enough? Although the increase in source energy can be regarded as a disguised improvement in strength, the effect is really the same as nothing. It was not until today that he knew that the emotional soul gem provided an exchange function for every civil servant. Civil servants of different levels can also exchange for different things. Basically, the things that can be produced in the reincarnation space and the heavenly court are also available in the underworld. The price is also very fair, and the better the things are, the more expensive they are. Acha has never seen Xiaoming in this situation. He has already sat in the position of the king of hell, but he still can't get the right to exchange. Could it be that the soul gem thinks he still needs to be tested? Then why didn't he give him such a high position in the first place? I can't help but feel that Xiaoming is a bit pitiful. Xiaoming was also angry for a while, and then slowly calmed down. The existence of such a big name as the soul gem wants to test himself. What else can I say? There is no window to complain. If it were a human, and played this trick on Xiaoming, Xiaoming would definitely say goodbye to him, say goodbye, and say goodbye to him. He would not believe him at all. But the book of life and death is not comparable to mere humans. They definitely don't have any selfish intentions, or deliberately tease him. Just accept it obediently. In fact, Xiaoming and my master Acha both misunderstood. The soul gem does treat Zhang Xiaoming differently. But it is not testing him. Instead, I think that Xiaoming is no less than myself. He should be able to make whatever he wants. If he can't do it now, he will definitely be able to do it after trillions of years, so it's not worth exchanging it for him. Just give him source energy as materials. It can also let him practice more. Isn't it the same in the reincarnation space? Zhang Xiaoming was not given the authority to open the mall. As a result, Xiaoming could not directly buy props from the reincarnation space for enhancement. The things in the rating mall are all kinds of authority props, which do not involve formal enhancement. Because once you accept the enhancement of the reincarnation space or the underworld, you will be controlled by others, and the two can take back these powers from you at any time. So the treatment they give Xiaoming is at the VIP level. Not using your own power to mix with Xiaoming's own system is a kind of respect. Little did they know that Xiaoming didn't want this kind of VIP treatment at all. He didn't have the ability to make anything with source energy. Of course, after trillions of years, maybe he could. My master Acha mistakenly thought that after a period of time, after the test, the underworld would open the exchange authority. Seeing Xiaoming's pitiful strength, the beauty frowned slightly. You look so pitiful. How about this? Tell me what you want to exchange, and I will exchange it for you. I will charge you the cost price, and I won't make any profit from your merits. Okay. Wow, is there such a good person? Xiaoming was deeply moved and agreed. He almost burst into tears. Acha casually threw over a list. It listed the items she could help Xiaoming exchange. Looking at the densely packed good things, Xiaoming's saliva almost flowed out. In fact, my master Acha's exchange authority far exceeds that of ordinary Hades. There are many things that Xiaoming, the Hades, is not qualified to exchange. However, Acha didn't even charge a handling fee, so how could she be so fussy with Xiaoming over such a small matter? She showed him everything at once. Some people might ask, since Acha thought that the soul gem wanted to test Zhang Xiaoming, why did she dare to interfere? Isn't she afraid that the soul gem will vent its anger on her? The reason is this. At the level of my master Acha, the connection between her and the soul gem is already very close. And her intuition is also extremely sharp. If the soul gem doesn't want her to do this, she will feel bad when she has a thought. In fact, she didn't feel any bad omen, and even felt that the soul gem seemed to encourage her to do so. That's why she was particularly generous to Xiaoming. I was just secretly wondering who Zhang Xiaoming was and why he was treated so specially by the Book of Life and Death. He was indeed a being with multiple energy sources. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1390. Poison fruit, a kind of superhuman fruit in the world of One Piece. When Xiaoming first saw it, he thought it was a natural fruit. Its ability is very vicious and can release powerful and special venom. The poisoned person needs to get the antidote from the ability user to be saved. So far, Xiaoming has never heard of the existence of this fruit in the trading network between reincarnations. Although it is a superhuman devil fruit, it is similar to the natural devil fruit and cannot be eaten easily. Because it is very harmful to the ability user. In daily life, the ability user often poisons himself unconsciously. Although he can make an antidote for himself, it seems to be more reliable than the natural fruit. But in fact, it is not that strong. Because the supernatural energy consumed every time the antidote is made is quite a lot in reality, supernatural energy is difficult to get. Although the One Piece world does not specifically state that there is a supernatural energy in the world, as long as you look at the strong people in this world, you will know that supernatural energy must exist. Where do those who have not eaten any devil fruit and can stand at the top of the pyramid get their strength? Similarly, when devil fruit users use their abilities, they must consume the corresponding supernatural energy. It's better for those abilities that can be controlled by themselves. However, it is difficult to control the ability of the poison fruit. It will automatically show its power from time to time, which can really make the reincarnationists vomit blood. Moreover, even if the complete poison fruit is obtained, it will still be out of control frequently. In the original work, Magellan, the director of the deep-sea prison advanced city of the World Government Navy, is the poison fruit ability user. When he eats, he always inadvertently exhales poisonous gas on the food, so he is in a state of diarrhea for 10 hours a day. Even he is like this, not to mention the reincarnations who can only get the incomplete version of the poison fruit. Since it is such a pitfall fruit, the person who gets it should be willing to sell it. Xiaoming has never heard of the relevant news. It's incredible. The real reason is that the incomplete version of this fruit is also extremely difficult to obtain. Based on the principle that things are rare and valuable, the few people who can get it have kept it in their collection and have not put it on the market. Including the 12 Kings family, the ability of this fruit is still under cautious research. Naturally, no one sells it. Even if a lucky reincarnation occasionally gets a defective version of the poison fruit and sells it, it will be quickly bought. That's why Xiaoming has never known the existence of this fruit. And when he saw the poison fruit in the exchange list given by my lord Acha, he liked it at first sight. Xiaoming actually does not lack attacking ability. The sword of rewarding good and punishing evil, the dragon warrior, and the kyber crystal weapon system are all extremely powerful means of attack. He was attracted to the poison fruit because he was influenced by Jin Dida. In the book Legend of the Flying Fox, Chen Lingsu once recalled the earnest teachings of his late master, Master Wu Chen, the poison hand medicine king. Our sect is good at using poison, and others hate it. In fact, poisoning people is more compassionate than using weapons and fists. After poisoning, if the other party repents and begs for mercy, vows to change, or finds that he has hurt the wrong person, he can be saved. But if a person is killed with a knife, he will never be resurrected. Therefore, any poison that cannot be cured by medicine, our disciples must not use it to hurt people. Even if the other party is a great villain, he must always be given a way to turn back and reform. This remark touched Xiaoming's heart and completely changed his understanding of poison. In previous martial arts novels, and even in later martial arts novels, people who use poison are still not welcomed by the world and readers. Perhaps only Xiaoming would take this remark to heart. He really needs a way to hurt people, but not kill them, and can be rescued. The poison fruit is just right. However, at Xiaoming's level, it is difficult to find poison that can be effective against masters above S level. The seven-hearted begonias and love flowers in Jin Dada's book are probably useless. Today, I learned that there is a poisonous fruit among the devil fruits, and Xiaoming was overjoyed. With the reputation and power of the devil fruit, as long as it is used well enough, it can definitely be used to fight against S-level masters. It is no problem to deal with A-level and B-level ones. Moreover, Xiaoming does not need a complete version of the fruit. He has already obtained the devil fruit system, which is the first flower blooming on the orange source energy tree. As long as he absorbs a defective version, Xiaoming can use source energy to complete it to a complete version. In this way, as long as Xiaoming exchanges various devil fruit fragments from my master Acha, he can collect all the devil fruits in a short time. Thinking of the scene where he can release a large number of 7 Yaoying clones with different devil fruit abilities to bully people together, Xiaoming couldn't help but drool again. Then, reality hit him on the head. The underworld is different from the Dragon Palace. The incomplete version of the devil fruit is not exchanged. If you want to exchange, you must exchange for a complete one. How expensive is a 100% poison fruit? It needs to consume 1/3 of the total merit that Xiaoming has accumulated. This is too expensive. The dream of collecting all the devil fruits in a short period of time was instantly shattered. In this way, Xiaoming must carefully choose what to exchange. Continuing to look back, he soon saw the name of Spark Source, which was also on the exchangeable list. The price was almost ridiculously high. According to Xiaoming's current rate of accumulating merit, it may take nearly a year to accumulate. Even though it was so expensive, Xiaoming still regarded the Spark Source as his primary goal. He really wanted to transform into a giant transformer. His EVA Unit 3 form can reach a maximum height of 80 meters. You know, Optimus Prime is only about 10 meters. Xiaoming can be n times taller than him. Of course, at Xiaoming's level, body size and combat power are actually not very related. It mainly depends on the amount of energy. It's just that in the eyes of the plot characters who don't know much, the huge size of Unit 3 looks more deterrent. At some times, it will have a miraculous effect. It would be a waste if such a large robot could not transform. Therefore, Xiaoming was determined to get the Spark Source. Before he started to accumulate enough merit, Xiaoming decided to indulge himself. He spent a lot of money to exchange the poison fruit and fed it to the energy tree. A few hours later, the energy tree produced another complete poison fruit. It seemed like a useless effort. But Xiaoming clearly felt that this fruit was not the one he exchanged before. It was recreated by the energy tree. During this process, both Xiaoming and the energy tree have made some progress. At least they have a deeper understanding of the fruit. In the future, he will be able to use the poison fruit at a fairly good level from the beginning. The world will surrender to my poison, Xiaoming posed in a very childish way. My Lord Acha was so disgusted that he fled.